Well, good morning, everybody. All right, let's try that again. I think that it's you guys remember it's 11, not 7 a.m. So let's do this again. So good morning, everybody. Oh, see now I know you're alive now. I know it. We are in this series called Soul Activity, and this morning as we started, and welcome to all those that are watching online, and. As we started this last week, we talked about being holy. What do we do? Which direction do we go? How do we get to this point where people, the Bible says, "Be holy because I am holy." It's God speaking to us, and so we wanted to start this transition, and we wanted to start doing this change, this change in our soul, and really starting to make this moving closer to God, and really having this relationship with Jesus. I have and some of you guys can probably relate. You may have the same thing. I have this rare disease, and you may not think of it as a rare disease, but I'll tell you is that at my house, before I got married, I could cook 3 meals, have a bunch of people over, and the place would look brand new right afterwards, right? It would be this unmistakable thing of going, man, this place looks untouched. So some of you guys know that as OCD. You have it maybe a little different than I do. Some other people have OCD a little differently, and their OCD is, they got to wash their hands 3 times, spin around in the bathroom, and then they can walk out and they go, "Oh, I'm clean now." It's just a different way of doing it. My OCD was I had to be clean. I had at my house and my car. It was really weird. You'd see my car and you'd be like, "Man, does he even drive this thing?" It was just, I washed it 3 or 4 times a week. I vacuumed it out. It was weird. The bad news was, or maybe not the bad news, but the thing is that I got married to Melissa. And so Melissa, I know it's so bad how I just said that, but here's the thing, is that when I got married, Melissa is a little different than I am as far as when it comes to she's not going to run the dishwasher 3 times a day. I'll run it 3 times a day. I can't have this. She won't do it. She'll go, we'll just do it once. Her line is, "You're just doing too much. You're just doing too much." And so for me, I go, "Well, that's who I was. This is who I am. You knew this when you married me." And she goes, "You knew who I was when you married me. You knew what I brought to the table. It wasn't like you never walked into my house and saw how it was. You knew what you were getting into." But we loved each other anyway, right? When we have these differences and we have these things that kind of separate us a little bit, we still love one another through it. We still have this stuff that kind of, that even through the differences or even through whatever we have going on, we still continue to love. The thing I guess I want us to start doing is start loving like Jesus. And what happens is a lot of times we kind of step back a little bit from that. And when something happens, we don't actually love how Jesus loved. See, Jesus consistently shocked with irrational acts of generosity and love. All the time, he ever did. And we're going to open up, and so if you don't have a Bible, we'll get you a Bible, but we want to open up to John 13. And somebody will walk through here in a second to get us a Bible. But what we really want, we're going to look at this for a second, because Jesus is getting ready to get crucified. Jesus is getting ready to go through all of these different, he knows what's getting ready to happen. He knows they're going to place the crown of thorns on him. He knows that all of this is going to happen. And see, here's his thing. He doesn't retreat and go, "It's time for me to run away." He continues to serve. It says in John 13, it says, "It was just before the Passover festival. And Jesus knew the hour had come for him to leave this world." He knew. See, this is an important line I want you to see here for a second, and it's underlined in my notes, and if you have it on our notes in the bulletin, it's underlined. He knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world. And see, the reason why I think this is important is because so often we know what's going to be coming down the road. We know what we have to do, and it focuses us to try to shift what we're supposed to be doing. So instead of actually following through and doing what Jesus asked us to, a lot of times we know what's going to be coming, and we go, "Yeah, I got to go do this. I got to go take care of this instead. I got to go." Jesus may have asked you to do something, or God may have asked you to do something, and what happens is you go, "No, I've got this other thing coming up, and it's more important than that." Or, "I've got this going on, and I can't do that right now. He knew what was going to happen, and yet he continued to do what he was supposed to. And so it says, and go to the Father, and having his own who were in the world, and having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. Just because he knew what was coming didn't mean that he stopped loving. He kept doing it. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon, to betray Jesus. So, I want you to think about this. This is a Thursday night in a secret upper room. Right? They're having this supper, they're meeting, and Jesus knows he's going to have to give his life. And if you read in Luke, if you open up to Luke and you read there, an argument spins up. And in this argument, they go, who's the greatest? You ever had that conversation? Like not the greatest in, not the greatest in the Bible, but, let's go, who's the greatest in basketball, right? So we'll use NBA. I used that earlier today. And so conversation that transpires. People go, who's the greatest? Michael Jordan's the greatest. And then you have these other people that come on and they go, no, it's LeBron James. And then you have this other group of people that go, oh, it's Kobe. Kobe? How did he get included in this conversation? But see what happens is that everybody's got this opinion. And so when you read in Luke, it says they were relaxing and they had their feet kicked up. Literally, it says they were reclining. It's what it says. They were reclining for the meal, and and an argument heats up. Can you imagine 12 guys that start getting into a heated discussion? What happens? You guys ever gone to a football game, or you ever gone and been watching football at the house and you get into a heated conversation? What's the first thing that happens? Nobody's reclining anymore, right? They all sit up. They go, what are you talking about? No, it's Michael Jordan. And so in this case, one goes, oh, it's John the Baptist. John the Baptist, he baptized Jesus. And Jesus is sitting there and going, man, you guys are way out. And then the other one goes, no, it's Peter. Peter walked on water. And Jesus goes, I let him. I let him walk on water. You see what happened when he took his focus off of me, right? Gulp, and that's what he said. He goes, hey, and they just keep going, and they're having. And so you can imagine if the Bible refers to it as a disagreement, as an argument, they get to this point and they're arguing over who the great. And Jesus just props in. He goes, hey, I already told you who the greatest was. And so I'm sure that it kind of stops everybody. And they look at him, and he goes, and if you look at Matthew 23, it says, the greatest among you will be your servant. The greatest among you will be your servant. And you hear this, and you go, well, what does that mean? And so Jesus got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing. So, see, here's the thing, is that Jesus knew it was about to get dirty. And so he strips off everything that stops him from doing what he has to do. He takes off his outer clothing, and he wraps a towel around himself, and he grabs a bucket of water. And that's what it says here. And it says, Jesus got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, wrapped a towel around his waist, and after that he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet. This is what it says. He says, they started arguing. Jesus listens to all this, and he gets up and he goes, I gotta go take care of something. Drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He got up, he stopped what he was doing, and he put others ahead of him. He washed their feet, knowing everything that was going to happen, knowing everything that was going to go on. And see, here's the things that we go, well, why did he wash the disciples' feet? Why would he do that? Is that a custom? Is that something that you hear about in the Bible all the time? Jesus walked in, somebody said, hey, take your shoes off, we're going to wash your feet. Can I get your coat? Can you imagine that happened today? Somebody shows up at the house, you go, hey, let me get your hat, let me get your coat. By the way, take your shoes off, got to wash your feet. Can you imagine being the guy doing it? When they show up at your house, you'd never have anybody over, right? Some of you don't have anybody over anyway, but you'd really never have anybody over then. You'd be like, no, I've seen, no, you're not. I know what my feet look like. I'm not touching yours. And see, the thing is back then you would greet with a kiss, and then there would be this low and almost humiliating task. And I've participated in this. I was at a youth camp years ago, about 10 years ago. Melissa and I went to a youth camp, and they turned this whole night into just an encounter with God and with Jesus. And in the back of the room, there was basins and really I watched these teens washing each other's feet, and I watched these leaders that were washing teens' feet, and feet, not feet, but feet, and I watched all of this, and it was so impactful and so humbling. You sit there and you watch this, but it's very, for you to get down and do it, it's not one of those proud moments. You don't get down there and be like, hey, let me take care of those for you. Can I get this corn off? What do you want me to do for you? It's just not one of those things that you're really excited about. It's not one of those things that you look up and go, man, hey, Jordan's the greatest, right? You just don't have that conversation. You're like, let me get this done as soon as possible so that we're done and I can move forward, because I really, and we've taken it to that level, and we've gone to this point to where we actually make it to less than what it really is. It's really impactful, and it really shows how much respect you have for somebody. And it's not the same as getting a pedicure. So if you're in here and you've gone off and you've had a pedicure done, it's not that. This is, you got to remember is that people would be traveling great distances, and they did it by foot. And so when they showed up, their feet would be funky. They would be bad. They would be covered in dirt, and so it was kind of one of these things, that I think that I could go gross about it. Anybody have any kids? If you have a teenager, you know what funky feet smell like, because they walk through the house and you're like, man. But I think that was part of it. It was like, hey, don't bring this into the house, but also but also it was really a show of respect for people and thankfulness for people showing up at your house. And so when you look at it, you got to go, it's not that same type of thing. My wife, she cracks me up sometimes, is that, she cracks me up a lot, actually. She doesn't realize it. She makes me laugh all the time. She thinks I'm laughing at her, but I'm really laughing with her. In the inside, I know she's laughing as well. And but one of the things that as we were, she goes, baby, I love you so much. She goes, I love you from the top of your head right to your ankles. And I go, really? Because, I've got one of those problems too. My feet, you see, my mom told me, because I had this one of these things, and it's kind of way off topic here, but the toe next to my big toe is longer than my big toe, right? And so I only own one foot though, so it's kind of, it's one of those weird things, right? It's like one foot is, and so I asked my mom, I go, Mom, I said, why is that? I thought it was because I popped my toes. I used to pull them to pop them and stuff. And she goes, baby, that's a sign of royalty. That's what she told me. She's all, that's a sign of royalty. And so I used to walk around with this jacked up toe, telling, that's a sign of royalty. Everybody goes, there's something wrong with you. Who told you that? If you've ever seen The White Boy where he goes, why is the crocodile angry? That's kind of the same situation. And, it's kind of how it ends up going. But, sorry. If you're, like I told you, way off topic, way off basis, just had to make it. So now you're saying the line for me. I don't even have to say it. But, as we go through, and as you go through and you experience that stuff, we all come up with, but your feet are, not one of those pleasant things that anybody wants to deal with. So just think at this. At dinner, people got these proud hearts. They are proud. They're going, hey, this is who's the best. This is who it is. And we do it today, so it's the same thing. You can imagine how it happened back then. And Jesus goes, yeah, but you guys got dirty feet. I got to take care of this. He just saw something that was more important. He goes, that's just not even, he's like, we got to take care of this. Jesus gets up, puts on a slave's apron, grabs a bucket, and starts to wash feet. That's what he does. And those around him, they gasp. That's what it says in the Bible. They go, what? What are you doing? And they go, Jesus? No way. No, he's not. No, he can't be doing that. And he goes, it's not right. And even Peter screams, you won't do that to me. That's what Peter says. Peter says, you're not going to wash my feet. And Jesus goes, I think I am. And then he bends down and washes dirty, smelly, filthy feet. So here's the thing. Jesus, the Son of God, the bread of life, the Prince of Peace, the living water, the light of the world, bends down and washes dirty feet. And see, for us, here's the biggest question is if the great high priest, if the Lamb of God, the living stone, the righteous judge, the true vine, will get down and wash feet, what prevents us from serving in even a slightest capacity in church? Because that's what happens. The Prince of Peace comes down and goes, I'm going to wash feet, and yet we go, ooh, I'm not making coffee. That's beneath me. I'm not going to do that. That's not how I roll. The chosen one chooses to wash feet, and we choose to just be consumers. That's what happens a lot of times. We come into church, and we come in and go, Mike, make me laugh. Mike, entertain me. And then we walk out, and we really don't do anything with it. And so we do all of these things in order to make it to where I take this and I make the message funny because I want it to resonate with you later. See, here's the thing. Here's the actual number. That if it doesn't have an impactful point or a point that you'll laugh in, you'll forget this within 24 hours. You will have no idea what I said. And so if we talk about last week's message, if it didn't have a funny part in it, unless you have no idea what I said last week. You've already forgotten it. You moved on and you said, life has got to go on. And so we try and create these impactful points. See, the thing is the King of Kings and the Alpha Omega, he knew. And so he had to do impactful things to make it to where we talked about it. He had to do these things. See, he didn't come to be served. He came to serve. Because this is how much I love you. I will serve and I will give and I'll just continue to pass. And so I'm going to give you guys a story. He's not here right now, but I'm sure that he'll walk in because he usually walks in a little late because he's trying to take care of his wife. Is that if you have had the privilege of meeting Winston, you'll ask him and go, how long have your wife been in a wheelchair? She had a stroke 14 years ago now. And just give you an idea is that Winston, Winston works in San Leandro, and his wife was in a home in Walnut Creek, and they live in Vacaville. And so what would happen is he would go to work in the morning, and then after work he would go drive to go visit with his wife, and spend 4 or 5 hours there. And then he would go home to do it again the very next day. And on Saturdays and Sundays, he would go visit with his wife every day. And the nurses asked him, they go, how long are you going to do this for? And he goes, as long as she's here. Well, what are you getting out of this? He said, I get the privilege of spending time with her. I get to be with her. I get to love on her. And see, the thing is, guys, there's nothing that he's getting out of that. He gets to be able to spend time with his wife. And here's the thing is that it even got to the point where they communicate so well through this that they created their own language that they can communicate. Because they told him, you'll never talk to one another. You'll never have a conversation. You'll never be able to communicate together again. And they can communicate. And they can talk with one another. And see, for all the things that they said that can't be done and that you should give up, he continues to have a relationship with her and he continues to spend time with her. And he shows us what it means to till death do you part in sickness and health. He shows us what that means. Winston is a living example of it in our church. And see, the thing is, and he's willing to serve and he's willing to counsel and he's willing to talk to people about it. And he's willing to go, this is what I do. This is how I've done it. I just love. And see, the thing is he's willing to share all that. But us, we're not willing to share. Some of us have struggled with alcohol. And we go, I'm not willing to share how I got through that. I'm not willing to share that supporting system. I'm not willing to share this. But he's showing us and he's giving this real life living example of what it means to love. I was just talking about you, sir. You're welcome. And if you want to ask about it, they're here. And I'll tell you, he gives this real life example. And we miss out on it so often that we don't even look at this and what the Bible really speaks about serving when you're not really when you do it without ever expecting anything back. Jesus was going to be crucified, and there was no changing that. It was going to happen. And yet, he still chose to wash feet because it needed to be done. He still chose to love. no matter what was going on. Jesus loved them till the end. That's the thing. Jesus loved them to the end. You know, who's the greatest? The greatest is the one who served. You know, are you serving? That's a big question. Are you serving? So here's the thing. Yesterday, you buy a house, you have to do work to it. You know, some of you guys are experiencing that. You know, you're doing that, and so yesterday I walked into Lowe's, and I had to get some door locks. You know, I bought some new tech thing for the house, and I had to get some door locks in order to match. My wife goes, we should change the bottom handle in order to match that new piece of equipment that you bought there. And so I said, oh, okay, well, I'll go do that. And so as I'm wandering through, what happens is you walk into Lowe's, you start to wander. You start going in different places. You go look at things that you know you can't afford. Like yesterday, my son got in on the action. He went and ran to the $5,000 refrigerator. You know, the one that's got the TV in it? The one that tells you need to get some milk. You know, it like sends you a text message. Somebody just took all the milk. You better go get some more. You know, I mean, it's really cool. If I had $5,000 that I could spend on a refrigerator, I'd get it. You know, but as I was wandering through the store doing making my future plans, let's call it that way, as I walked past some people that were at the lawnmowers, and this couple, they were fighting and arguing over who was going to mow the lawn once they bought the lawnmower. They were literally, they were fighting over who was going to be the one that got behind that thing and pushed it. And so for me, I go, you know, I actually enjoy mowing the lawn. I don't really do it often at home because I'm not, but I was like, I got time right now. I said, how about I just come over and I'll mow it for you. I just happened to be walking along. I had an Edge shirt on, an Edge hat. I just said, how about I'll just mow it for you. And instantly he changed his whole attitude. He's like, oh, no, I got it. And she goes, thank you. You know, like she planned the whole thing. Like it all worked out perfect for her, you know. And so, but see, the thing is that I go, I'll take care of this. This one's mine. It's something I'm able to do, and I can actually help them through their marriage without actually having to do like a whole bunch of work. You know, they even asked me, are you a yard boy? I go, well, no, I guess I'd be a yard man. But no, I mean, not quite what I do. I said, but I'm willing to do whatever I have the ability, I'm willing. The question is that the stuff that you see and the stuff that's your ability, are you willing to do it? You have a friend that needs help moving. What do you do? Now, I'm not just talking about an acquaintance that sends you a Facebook message, hey, I'm moving, can you come over? No. But you have a friend that needs help moving, and you dodge them? Man, is that really a friend? Because if I need help moving, and I'm asking you, and we're friends, we hang out on a regular basis, we talk, you should come out and say, I can do that. I'll be there. That's mine. I got it. You know, when Melissa and I served at another church, some teens needed spiritual guidance. I said, man, I needed spiritual guidance when I was a teen. I can do that now. And literally, I can do that, and that's mine, turned into a full-blown ministry and a career. You know, things change when you just step into a slight role, and things change dramatically. You know, even for some of you guys, it's helping in the baby's room. You go in and you go, I can help in the baby's room. I can change a diaper. I don't like changing them, but I can. You know, I mean, but who likes changing diapers? Do you know? Guys, because really I'm speaking to you guys. Who likes changing diapers? Have you ever, no woman ever opens up and goes, I wonder what it's going to smell like this time. You know, nobody ever does that. Wonder what color it's going to be. What'd you feed them? That's what color it's going to be. I mean, but that's the whole mindset there, is that we've forgotten that we go, I can do that. We have to be able to start stepping into it and doing it. And see, that's the thing, is that you go from, it's like you're afraid your boy's going to call you a butt wiper. Oh, you butt wiper? That's what I'm supposed to do. My wife's going, what? I know. Because you don't hang out with guys. That's why you haven't heard it. See, the thing is, I can do that. This one's mine. That's the mindset that we have to get to. I can do that. This one's mine. And I promise you that things change. So here's the thing, though. You can't be at the changing table, break out your phone, put it in whatever app that is, and go, look at me, change a diaper. You can't do that. You can't get down on your hands and feet and start washing feet and go, hold on, let's get this selfie together. That doesn't work, right? That's not actually serving with the right heart. That's serving so that everybody else can see that you're serving. That, hey, look at me. I'm changing a diaper. Hey, look at me. I'm washing feet. That's not why we're supposed to do this. We're supposed to do it because we're supposed to serve, because we need to actually fulfill that need. We need to step in there and go, hey, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to grow with this. We're supposed to be in these different capacities. We're supposed to be helping one another. You're supposed to get, you hashtag honored to serve. That's not what that's supposed to be about. You have to get to this point where you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing, because that's what you're supposed to do. I've heard the line before, and if you ever watch Chris Rock, uses this line. He goes, he's got some guys that he's talking to, and they go, and he tells them, my boy comes to me and talks to me about how he's being a good dad. You're supposed to be a good dad. You're not supposed to take pictures and claim, I'm a good dad. You're supposed to be a good dad. You're supposed to do those things. And see, the thing is we're trying to look for brownie points and bonus points for doing the things we're supposed to do. If you see a need, you're supposed to fill that need. If you've ever watched the movie Robots, literally in that movie Robots, the robot walks around and what's his name? Copperbottom comes out and he goes, see a need, fill a need. See a need, fill a need. You see, the thing is some of you guys walked in here today. You walked in and you go, as you were walking in, you go, man, there's a scuff on the paint right there, and this is wrong, and that's wrong. See, that's God identifying issues for you to actually help fix. The problem is you just look at them and go, somebody should fix that. Somebody should fix that. And see, that's where the problem comes into, is that somebody is probably supposed to be you. That somebody is probably supposed to be you that walked in the door and go, hey, I see those things. And you're not supposed to need to be seen to do it. You don't need to be acknowledged, and you don't need to be repaid, you're just supposed to do it. We get so caught up in, I need to be seen for this, I need to be done in this. Your actions, it's not your attitudes. What are your actions? What are you doing with it? And our attitudes get us so caught up to where, well, what am I going to get out of this? Nothing. You're not going to get anything out of it. You're going to find favor with God in heaven. That's what you're going to do. So here's where it gets a little mean. If you are a Jesus follower, and if you're a part of the family of God, and you're a church attender, and you're not serving, that means that something here probably isn't getting done. That's just what it is. Something is not being done. If you're not serving, something's not being done. And you walk in and you go, I can't find a church that meets my needs, because you're supposed to be helping meet the needs of others. Then you'll find that your needs are being met as well. You have to remember something. We are not spiritual consumers. That's what we tend to want to be. We walk in and go, wow, the screens are great, the moving graphics, this is going, and we become consumers. And really what we're supposed to be is spiritual contributors. We're supposed to be part of this. We're supposed to be doing it. We're supposed to be helping. We're supposed to be helping others grow. And see, that's the thing. You want to change your marriage? Start serving. Serve in your marriage. And I promise you, your marriage gets better. You want to make it to where you have your friendships that are changed? Start serving in your friendships. When your friends need you, be there. They shouldn't have to ask you to show up. You should be there for them. If your wife needs you or your spouse needs you, you should be there. There shouldn't be one of those things going, I'm bleeding, help me. No, you should already be there. And see, that's the mindset is that we've gotten, well, they didn't ask for help. Did you guys watch the video? Or maybe some of you guys weren't here for it, where the firefighters were in the station, and the fires are burning out of control. They go, they didn't call. And then literally the lady comes start screaming out of the windows, help, help. And they go, we'll get to that later. Guys, that's where we've gotten in our lives. We don't respond when we know that we're supposed to be responding. Here's the deal. If, for instance, I was to fall over, pull this table out, and then this table's light, so, But if it was to land on me, some of you would probably respond to help get the table off of me and help me out, right? I wouldn't have to lay on the floor going, help. You would respond. You would show up for that. If somebody started bleeding, right?
and something happened, you would respond. And they were, sometimes with the guy, his hand's bleeding, he's like, I don't need help. I'll just put some duct tape on this, we'll be good to go. But the reality is that when you see those things, you respond, you do it. But you'll be driving down the road, you see somebody in need, you don't respond. You go, somebody else will get that. You walk in the church, you see that something's wrong that you can fix, you go, somebody else will do that. Oh, somebody else will get to that. Somebody else will do it. Well, God maybe sent you to be that somebody else. God maybe sent you to go, you're here to fix this. You want to glorify Jesus? Serve. You want to make a difference in this world? Serve. About a year ago, a group of us were asked to go work a concert at the Oakland Arena. Hillsong United was here, and so we went out. And on our way back, we were driving along in our bus, and on our way back, the guy passes by us. He's like doing 80 miles an hour, and they were, younger guys. Not really, everybody thinks that the world isn't going to end that soon, and so they're driving along, doing whatever, and traffic comes up out of nowhere. And they're doing 80 miles an hour, and he hits his brakes, and he drives into the car in front of him, probably at 50 miles an hour. The car just crushes in on them, and they're trapped in the vehicle. But a group of us on the bus, we pulled over, we blocked lanes of traffic, and we got out, and we tried to help. We had people walk up, and they tried to help them get out of the car, and I love the statement. One of the people that was with us walked up to the car, and, hey, what was happening? He was, I was taking a bong rip, and I drove into the car in front of us. And you go, wow, that's awful honest of you right now, but right. But obviously he wasn't paying attention. But we didn't just, and here's the thing was, when CHP finally showed up, so when the ambulance shows up and CHP finally showed up, I was talking to one of the officers, and he goes, why'd you stop? And I go, he's like, most people just drive past. They just slow down and they just look at the carnage. They don't actually stop and actually help people. I said, because we're called to serve, we're called to help. That's what we're supposed to do. He goes, see, that's the thing, is that most people don't want to help. They just want to look and point and not actually make a change. In our lives, that's what we do. We look, we point, we criticize, we go, that's wrong, and we don't actually make a change. We don't actually fix what needs to be fixed. We just point at it and go, that's horrible, and then we don't actually change it. And when God says, I'm asking you to serve, I want you to make a difference, I want you to go out and make a difference in this world. And a lot of times we go, I'm not that person. What can I do? Who am I? What can I do? Guys, I want to tell you is that none of the 12 disciples had anything really special about them. They were all ordinary people. And you start looking at Moses. Moses was a murderer. David was an adulterer. You can take them that have gone from these huge, and you look at these checkered pasts and go, well, what can I do? You can do a lot. You just have to be willing to serve. And you'll start seeing the change that'll happen. John 13:1, it says, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. He loved them to the end. He kept loving them and loving them. No matter what was going on, no matter what they were doing. We didn't walk up to the car and they go, I was taking a bong rip, and they go, ooh, can't help you, you're a drug addict. We didn't do that. We helped. We didn't judge them. We didn't do anything. We go, what can we do? How can we help? How can we be part of this? And see, that's the thing, is we walk in and go, I'm not qualified. You are qualified. God brought you here. You can do this. God brought you, and he brought you into the door today. You might be your first time here today. And for that, I say thank you, but I will tell you is that God brought you here to do some service. And it may not be at this church. It may be at another church, but God brought you here today to stir your heart, to go out to you. You're supposed to be out helping carry this message to others. You're supposed to be out making disciples. And you go, oh, I'm not a preacher, I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm going to tell you, your actions make you, your actions, if you say you're a follower of Christ, your actions, they do say that you are a teacher or a preacher or a disciple. You're supposed to be out doing these things. Jesus looked around the room, saw proud hearts, but dirty feet. He said, I can do that. This is mine. I'll take care of it. He saw a need, he got up, and he met it. What have we been doing? When we see a need, do we get up and do we take care of it? Or do when we see a need, we go, somebody else got that? And is that how we've responded with most of our life? See, servants, when they see a need, they get up and they address it. And if you go back into what the book in Matthew it says the greatest among these is the one who served. You know, I know that there's a whole lot to be leaders. And I'll just tell you is that being a leader also means that you're a servant. You know, we all kind of forget it. But each one of us is called to serve. Each one of us is called to serve someplace. And we kind of tend to push it down the road a little bit, right? We kick it down the street. You go, somebody else will get that. Somebody else will take care of it. Well, what happens if somebody else doesn't take care of it? What happens if somebody else doesn't fix the issue? What happens if somebody else doesn't step up and go, and I'm going to take care of it? What happens if it's your best friend? And they go, somebody else will talk to them about Jesus. What happens if it's your coworker? What happens if it's your kids? What happens if it's your parent or your brother? Somebody else will talk to them. Somebody else will get it. And nobody ever gets to them. Nobody ever talks to them. What happens then? Or what happens if it's, somebody else will fix that? You know, and the only reason why I know this because it was in a magazine, but about a year ago, a youth pastor was in Texas and rented a car. And the previous person didn't say that there was an issue with the car. And the youth pastor's car broke down on the side of the road. And he was killed on the side of the road because the person before him didn't say, hey, this car has got a problem. You know, guys, what happens if it's something like that? That when you can say something, you should. When you can fix something, you should fix it. You can't just keep going, somebody else is going to get it, somebody else is going to take care of it. Because what happens if there's not somebody else? What happens if you're that last person that they get to have contact with? What happens if you're that last person that somebody gets an encounter with, and you didn't love them, and you talked bad about them, or you judged them, or you were harsh with them? What is that? What happens if you're the last person? You know, because all of us, we're only promised just but a breath. Life can end at any moment. It could be over like that. And see, here's the thing is that if we know that it can be over just like that, and each and every moment is just but a gift to us, well, why are we treating people so horribly? And so why are we talking about them so meanly? And why aren't we helping them when we can? Or why aren't we taking care of situations when we can? Because we know it can be over like that. It can be done. And because we did something wrong or we did something negative, somebody ends up going to hell because our inaction. Us going, somebody else will get that. And so our 1 30-second stop that could have changed somebody's life forever, how we treated the cashier at Walmart could have changed somebody's life forever. How we treated the guy who helped pump our gas or the guy on the corner that was begging for money didn't mean that you had to give him money, but how you treated him. If it's the last thing that they get, man, shouldn't it be something that's an amazing experience that shows that how well we can love? That you can show the love of Jesus through every action and every person that you're around? And so often we miss that. So often we don't take those opportunities because we fail to serve. We go, I'm too good for that. I'm not going to wash feet. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, washed feet, and you won't love your neighbor. I know that some of you are really good at loving your neighbor. So if that's you, don't take what I just said personally. But if you're the opposite one, you should take that and go, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to do something different. When I walk out of the door today, my actions, I know, are going to show that I'm an ambassador for Christ and I'm going to make a difference. That I'm going to reach people and I'm going to serve. And when I can do something, I will. That's all it starts. It starts with right now. It starts with right here. You can make that choice. serve. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you for these opportunities to serve and these opportunities you put in front of us, that each one of the relationships and each one of the times that we get to talk to somebody and every encounter that we have, we get this ability to be able to show the love that you have for us. We can show it through us to others. Even if it's just something small, as fixing a hole or fixing something or helping somebody on the sidelines, if we serve, we can make an impact in somebody's life. We can change things. It can change dramatically by our actions or our inaction. Father, we ask for this opportunity to, as we walk out of the door here, to take things in a whole different stance, to be able to love as you have shown us love, to serve, even when we think it's beneath us, to be able to serve and go, I'll take care of that, I'll help with it. To help with relationships, to serve one another, to help our friends and our neighbors, but to really not only help, but to love them. Father, we know that each and every breath is a gift. And so we ask that those gifts, we utilize those to help reach others that you've asked us to. That way, as we use these gifts, that we realize that each person that we come in contact with, that it may be the last time we contact them. And so we should treat each and every encounter with them as though. That we love them, that we help them, that we do everything we can, that's within our powers to do for them. Father, we know that you've brought each and every one of us here because we're supposed to be serving here. Maybe not at the edge, but we're supposed to be serving to help build your kingdom. And so, Father, we ask that you help us and that you guide us into the direction of where we're supposed to be at. What are we supposed to be doing? And how are we supposed to be making a difference? Father, thank you. It's in your Son, Jesus' name, that we pray. Amen.